My name is Mara.
Right guys, what's up? This is Kyle.
My name is Nina.
Hi YouTube, my name is Jake.
Hello.
My name is Gregory.
My name's Nadia. It's nice to meet you.
A little small. Just a little small.
Do you want to take a quick moment?
Sorry, what?
Do you want to take a quick moment off stage?
No, I'm here now, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
It's
No
Kyle.
worries.
They're just the biggest DID content creator out there. But what did it take to get there? In 2018, Multiplicity and Me reigned as the most popular creator who discussed their experiences with DID, but DissociaDID's approach was different. Uploading videos like the eternal child, an exaggerated way of saying littles, an alter in a DID system who is in a childlike state. Switch, caught on camera. Evil alters. Persecutors, although I am aware a lot of people don't like that term. But we've also got triggered on live. But as DissociaDID's channel grew, so did the controversies. We've got glamorizing DID, a Golden Corral looking buffet of inconsistencies and contradictions, as well as disagreements, with other creators. For those who don't know, dissociative identity disorder is a reaction to childhood trauma to help a child avoid traumatic memories. It's characterized by a person having two or more distinct personality states. Each might have a different name, a different history, different characteristics. Even though there is, don't find a loophole for me here, no way to tell if somebody is faking a disorder on the internet. That does not stop our internet sleuth, armchair psychologist detectives from stepping in. I feel like that sounds derogatory, but really, I do feel that media literacy is very important, especially when viewing DissociaDID's content. Some people are saying like,
well, I know that they don't have DID because guess what? DID doesn't exist at all.
Well, others have discovered it is interesting evidence that is so detailed. It's like a Netflix docuseries from a questionable diagnosis from a clinic that this clinic does not diagnose people, to scores indicating malingering, to alters who are very much just lifted straight out of an Illuminati conspiracy book. We will be talking about all of this in today's video, so make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get into it. In 2017, after facing some personal struggles while studying psychology at university, DissociaDID moved back in with their parents and began researching dissociative identity disorder. They joined some Facebook groups that were talking about DID. DissociaDID has been accused of using personal and sensitive information from other people's DID stories by asking them very personal questions in Facebook groups. Later, some of the content DissociaDID uploaded was said to mirror the exact experiences, alters, trauma stories of these individuals. This is a reminder of how important it is to protect your personal information, especially online. This year, it seems like data breaches are everywhere, which is unsettling to say the least. Dell faced a breach that exposed 3.9 million customer records, including sensitive personal information. Ticketmaster got hit with a breach, exposing 560 million customer records. But what is the most shocking part? Just a few months ago, National Public Data announced a breach that could impact every American. The incident compromised over 2.9 billion records used for background checks, including critical personal information such as full names, addresses, dates of birth, phone numbers, and most importantly, social security numbers. And it's confirmed the hacker group released this personal information online for free. So if you haven't been taking your personal information online seriously, now might be a good time to change that, because you're more vulnerable than ever in today's digital landscape. Thankfully, I feel secure because of Aura, today's sponsor. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points like the dark web and public court records, to alert you about potential identity theft. They even offer up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, so you're covered if the worst happens. Plus, Aura offers a wide variety of other features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts for data breaches, a VPN for secure browsing, data broker opt-out to stop companies from selling your personal information, a password manager to help you create and store strong passwords, and more. I'm making sure my family and I are protected from data breaches, and you can too. Head to aura.com/MichelleManna to try it for free for 2 weeks. That's plenty of time for Aura to check if your personal information has been exposed, so make sure to check out the link down below. Someone on Reddit posted, "We are one of those people, and it's not just our inner world they basically copied, but traits of our alters suddenly became full alters of theirs. They also took certain aspects of our abuse and information we disclosed in a private group, and suddenly it became part of their inner world. They were smart in that they waited over a year to make the video, probably thinking people had forgotten. It's pretty hard to forget your own abuse, DissociaDID, so seeing it in a video of theirs was soul destroying. Literally crushed us, and we commented. Of course, it was deleted. We are not the only ones who have been betrayed by DissociaDID or had our personal histories made a joke of just because they couldn't make up their own inner world. Am I suggesting that they intentionally stole the trauma stories and experiences of these people only to use meticulously on their YouTube channel? No, I mean, it could be as simple as it's a coincidence. Maybe they had a lack of boundaries. They just wanted a connection with other people with the same experiences. But here's where things get fishy. So people tried to raise up these concerns. They're like, you're using my alter or trauma story as yours. DissociaDID would delete their comments. I am one system they asked inappropriate questions and used our inner world. We actually brought this up several times in their videos and in Facebook groups. They deleted the comments and blocked us. We are stepping back from here because it's getting too traumatic. As if this wasn't enough for us, hello, their diagnosis story has entered the chat. Over the years, DissociaDID has shared many stories about their diagnosis, all of which they don't all add up. I hear you behind the screen, and hear me out. I understand that a defining trait of DID is an unreliable memory. This can extend to awareness of the diagnosis because it might feel unsafe for the system to process, basically different group chats. DissociaDID doesn't owe anyone proof of their diagnosis, but the internet will do as the internet does best, and they'll be like, listen, I got my PhD in armchair psychology, and picker, it didn't happen. The first story involves DissociaDID recalling a therapist suggesting to them in 2014 or 2015 the possibility of DID. The story later shifts to DissociaDID being the one to introduce the idea to the therapist. The therapist actually didn't even know what it was, and this marks our first inconsistency. The second inconsistency lies in DissociaDID's evidence for their diagnosis. DissociaDID claimed to be diagnosed from DID by Remy Acrone at the Pottergate Center. The Pottergate Center is a private clinic that focuses on trauma and dissociation, offering assessments and treatment for trauma-related conditions, particularly dissociative disorders. They provide diagnostic recommendations to help with further evaluation, but they don't diagnose. The reason I'm using air quotes for diagnosis is because DissociaDID was diagnosed by a psychotherapist. But psychotherapists cannot diagnose in the UK. They were diagnosed specifically by Remy Acrone, a psychotherapist at the clinic. He shared some controversial views in the past, including, but not limited to, continuing to propagate the hoax of Illuminati mind control and satanic ritual abuse. DissociaDID claimed that the assessment could take anywhere from 2 to 5 hours. Short and sweet, except your wallet by the end. might be needing therapy. I'm not here to say that the Pottergate Center is an illegitimate tool. You should not be using it on your diagnosis journey. I mean, but at the same time, how are we ruling out all other diagnoses in the time it takes to watch Interstellar? Oh, that's right, we're not. It's a recommendation. During the assessment, the patient will be given self-reported questionnaires such as the SDQ-20, the DES, to assess dissociative experiences. On that note, in response to questions about the legitimacy of their diagnosis, DissociaDID uploaded this video in 2023 titled Our Diagnosis Story, How We Discovered Dissociative Identity Disorder, where DissociaDID reveals that they got an 86.78 on their dissociative experiences scale, which is elite. It is significantly high even for a person with DID. People with DID often score high on the dissociative experiences scale. However, scores generally range up to 60. If you do a quick Google search, you might find clinical features suggesting a factitious diagnosis or malingering include having a score above 60 on the DES. Malingerers might accidentally overshoot, accidentally aiming for medical anomaly rather than medical condition. A score of 80 is not definitive proof of malingering, but it should be treated with caution. I have no doubt that the Pottergate Center has assisted many people on this difficultly woven quest final boss diagnosis that is the NHS. But some speculate that the Pottergate Center has a reputation for offering you the diagnosis you want if you can afford it. In fact, a retired clinical psychologist, Catherine Meir, has a book called Abused by Therapy, How Searching for Childhood Trauma Can Damage Adult Lives, which mentions the Pottergate Center hands out free questionnaires and those who score highly are invited to come in for paid assessment. 90% of those people who do the paid assessments will end up with a diagnosis. However, only 60% of those will actually have DID. An article states that roughly 90% of those who accept its offer of an assessment are found to have a dissociative disorder, and most are referred on for treatment. About 60% of those will have DID, 30% DDNOS, and 10% either have depersonalization disorder or dissociative fugue. I mean, it's a dissociative disorders clinic, so I get it, but the idea that 90% of the people who come in will be diagnosed screams a little unhinged. It's my opinion though, especially when you consider the overlap with other symptoms. Like we got our cluster B personality disorders, we got our schizophrenia, schizoaffective, we got maladaptive daydreaming, you name it. The diagnostic process is usually complex and very lengthy. Why? We are ruling out all different possibilities. I'm not sure of the cost of all of these assessments, but DissociaDID did have a GoFundMe for their diagnosis. They claimed years later, no, we do have a diagnosis from the NHS, although in the video where you were providing medical documentation as evidence, the NHS was nowhere in sight. So my hypothesis is either the medical paperwork was camera shy, valid. On the other hand, it might have just been a trust me bro situation. DissociaDID hasn't shown any evidence of pursuing a official diagnosis, and you would think just based off of how you shared all this information from the Pottergate, this NHS diagnosis would be like, DissociaDID claims to have two different diagnoses. One from the Pottergate Center, which is void, they don't diagnose, and one is from the NHS that they got years later by a psychiatrist in the NHS. Coincidentally, always, but the mention of the second diagnosis came just in time to calm the critics who called out that the Pottergate Center doesn't diagnose. And if you went to the NHS years ago, don't you think that deserved a cameo in your video in 2020?
We were diagnosed by Dr. Remy Acquarone of the Pottergate Center.
I do stand by the principle that nobody owes you proof of their diagnosis. Do I look like Judge Judy? We can argue the morality of fake claiming, but at the same time, the internet is the Wild West, not like Webkin's Pop Tropica Club Penguin looking ass. You don't have to provide proof the same way others don't have to believe you, and that's okay because you know that you have it. Nonetheless, DissociaDID dropped their YouTube channel, premiering in 2018, where they made a video called Dissociative Identity Disorder, The Basics of DID. Good, we are breaking the stigma one YouTube video at a time. We stand an educational icon. And then what's this? Switch caught on camera 9 times. We become littles. Age sliding. How integration works. A gem fusion? Can I take a temperature check real quick? Like, how do we feel, anyone with DID out there, about comparing integration or fusion of alters with gem fusions in a children's fantasy show?
Whoa.
Steven. Connie! I did it! You did it?
I'm a fusion.
Is this a good analogy? Or is it giving, like, therapists everywhere just secondhand cringe? By their 3rd video, which is now deleted, they already started pulling the switch on camera card, like making it in their titles and thumbnails. They claim this is to bring awareness for the wow factor. So can I just clarify? You're saying, let's take the most sensationalized and stigmatized part of a disorder, make that my title and call it advocacy. I get it. I mean, I'm a YouTuber, but at the same time, I feel like people with DID or, you know, people with loved ones with DID, they're not gonna care about what the title is. Their channel has been all about alters from day one. Critics have pointed out that their content uses outdated literature stemming from the early 1900s, and when this was pointed out, they just deleted the references from their bio. They say their channel has inaccurate information, glamorizes or romanticizes the disorder, and is way too focused on making alters the main characters. People even speculated that they were placing the ads strategically, like right before a switch would happen.
As you set off on your journey once again, you must remember that the journey itself has meaning.
Hello, everybody. This is Jade.
I understand, even educators need to make the coin. I mean, on a traumatized state, I guess that's opinion-based. They entered a relationship with someone you might know, Team Pinata, who they did come out, they were very problematic, but we didn't know that yet. Together, they started making videos where the switches just kind of seemed like a layer of entertainment for them and for the camera. It's like we could have 2 different alters dating, which obviously could happen if 2 people with DID are dating each other. But at the same time, it just seemed very much like for comical reasons and not a whole lot of like dissociation.
Nin's judging my makeup putting on skills, and I'm sure a lot of y'all are as well. Judge all you want. Whatever.
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 That's Kyle's job.
Whatever.
Whatever.
In it, like, shut up.
Oh, he's telling me off. Sorry. I don't f***ing sound like that.
How my babes doing?
My babes.
My babes.
We think that Nam's going to propose to Nin. What do you think about that? I think it's going to be cute. They better do a fucking good job. I'm also... I haven't had my permissions talk.
No.
They went to Disneyland together even though they knew about the likelihood of a little alter coming to front, and the age regress states vlogged.
We're going to Magic Kingdom because we're going to Disneyland. Disney World. It's going to be so exciting. I'm excited. Are you excited? Me too. Yeah. A little small. Just a little small. But we're gonna go in. We're gonna go in now.
Everybody, we're friends.
We're friends, everybody.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
It's the best to say.
I don't have any friends but Tommy. But now I have best friends.
We're best friends now. And
I take care of you now. But still be best friends.
We both have big bodies. It's big body.
When we think of age-regressed alters, we have to think about it like they're actually in the mindset of a child. I mean, is this safe? Yet these children are able, interested, and remember that, oh, we're supposed to be vlogging. DissociaDID stated that they wanted to keep their littles off of the internet to shield them, and I guess this involves uploading a video of your littles at Disneyland. People were kind of shipping them, like different alters in DissociaDID's system were dating different alters in Pinata's system. Nin was dating Nan, Kyle was dating Jeremy, Nadia was dating that one person. You know, it goes on and on. With the clickbait titles come a unique crowd of people who are very interested in DID. They think it's fascinating and cool and quirky. This misses the real seriousness behind it. DID is so interesting to me. I love learning about DID. This is my new hyperfixation. Oh my god, I love Kyle. No, I love Nadia more. There were countless fans standing these alters as though they were these fictional characters with tragic backstories. Their communication was pretty solid back then. I mean, it definitely wasn't perfect, but they uploaded a video called What's in My Diary. The weird thing about the diary is that they were just diagnosed with DID and they were newly receiving treatment for it, but they kind of like skipped past the intro and went straight into advanced gameplay. They later shared that an alter mic was preventing them from going to therapy at the time, which doesn't exactly help with harmonious communication. Yet they had amazing communication with alters, writing down the roles of their alters, an organized list of alters, their system roles, defined rules, and made notes using signatures and dates in the video. They wrote down in their goals that they wanted to get to 10K subscribers, get monetization, and get their first sponsorship. You would think that if this is your personal journal, your goals might be more tailored towards, like, I don't know, just a ballpark, but like therapy. I mean, maybe that's in another journal. Meanwhile, a lot of people with DID might still be trying to figure out who these alters are. And even if the alters are aware of them, they might just be like, nah, I'm good. It could feel like breaking down the barriers that protected them, exposing these memories that is the reason why the disorder is here in the first place. Others might not realize they even have DID. They might just think they're the only one in the body. Accepting that your alters exist involve accepting that something so traumatic happened to you that your brain resorted to a survival mechanism where it essentially fractured because the trauma was too much for one consciousness to process at the time. Around 2020, it was discovered that a lot of DissociaDID's alters, inner world, their story was pretty much copy-pasted from this book. The book is called The Illuminati Formula Used to Create an Undetectable Mind-Controlled Slave. The book suggests that when Ultra failed, they transitioned to a new method called monarch programming. The book really blurs the lines between fiction and reality. I mean, I love a good conspiracy theory here. Like, my perfect date would probably be binge watching Ancient Aliens. It talks about spiritual warfare, demonic possessions, the Illuminati allegedly using monarch programming in order to control people for their own agenda. According to the book, celebrities and politicians can be turned into mind-controlled puppets. The thing is, I mean, there is no evidence for this. If there is, it's probably in like Area 51. Wait, sorry guys, there's someone at my door. I have been advised by the CIA to keep my mouth shut, so this is going to be my last video before I mysteriously disappear. Some alters that appear to be based on the book are Jade, completely straight spitting image from the book, no edits, no shame. Gatekeeper alters will guard portals or gates. Gatekeeper will guard the cave.
I guard the mouth of the cave, the tunnels beyond the cave, which connect to the basements, and the dungeons.
Gatekeeper alters will also be found guarding important sections like the carousel.
I control who has access to the dungeons, who has access to the carousel, who has access to the basement, and nobody has access beyond the carousel except me and one of our persecutors, Demon.
Gatekeeper alters will protect the red doors that only they can enter.
There is a door that floats in the center of the carousel. To everybody else, this door looks black. To me and Demon, this door looks red, and we are able to pass through it.
Jade wears a gemstone necklace that she can never be without and cannot leave the cave. Gatekeeper altars are non-sexual.
Sexually, I believe myself to be asexual. I have very little interest in that sort of thing.
Ruby was also mentioned multiple times throughout the book. It kind of represents a dark, feminine, ageless, maternal figure. Next up is Omega. DissociaDID has an alter named Omega who showed up after not very good attempt. In the book, Omega stands for suicide altars, and these altars can commit at any point in case of emergencies. The book describes the difference between a physical and mental spiritual death, and DissociaDID talks about this in their Omega video. Apparently, the programmers will kill the victim mentally, morally, spiritually, and physically. So they program 4 different types of suicide into their sufferer. They push the endurer into a near game over experience, therefore creating a dead altar within the system. Then we have Sally under Sally Gamma programming, in which they are supposed to be this like lighthearted and maternal figure. They are designed to embody the role of a caretaker and maternal figure, providing nurturing and support within the system.
My name is Sally. My role, I'm technically a protector, but I'm more of an inner caretaker. I work mostly on the inside. I used to exist primarily to soothe Chloe.
And some notable mentions that are miscellaneous. We've got the Red Door, the Carousel, the Mainframe, altars with crystal names, and DissociaDID has altars called Dark and Demon. When this became public, DissociaDID filed a copyright strike against Granddad's Lounge, the creator who I believe originally brought this to light. Actually, they filed a total of 3 strikes to his channel. If you don't know, that is the exact amount you need to get your channel taken down. He wasn't removed though because the strikes were incorrect and he submitted a counter notification, which essentially means that they were about as weak as my excuses for missing the gym. They claimed that Granddad's Lounge manipulated their content to promote dangerous conspiracy theories. This accusation came after he allegedly exposed her from taking altars from this book, and that kind of led some people to think that maybe this was an attempt to silence him. Where DissociaDID got at least 1/10 of their subscribers was in 2020, they did an interview with Anthony Padilla. The way they got in my opinion, was a little sneaky. Multiplicity and Me was originally going to go, but I think that's for another video. It is the most viewed video on Anthony's channel to this day. Although when it was originally made, a few DID YouTubers kind of came out and were like, what was this performance?
It all started with the Anthony Padilla video. And then going on and just putting on a show. Like it was certainly interesting. And I was like, oh, well, why did you make those choices?
This is the nail on the coffin, you guys. Apparently in the interview, they were talking about how Kyle was like eating a banana in the bath and then he switched to Chloe, and it was just a funny story. But people were like, wait a second, didn't you say years later that you have an alter named Murmur? She's a mermaid and she's the one who comes out to take showers because you have a trauma connected to water?
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Do you want me to set you up with a question again? Do you want to answer this?
I don't know, going back through their old content, it just seems like their communication is amazing. Like, we have this video where they had all the boys a lot of the boys in the system come out in one sitting.
Hi YouTube, my name is Jake. I don't front that regularly, but when I do, I like to make sure that we're having a good time. Hello, my name is Gregory. I am a EP in the system. I'm an Asian, I don't eat food, I'm anorexic. My name is Mike, my favourite food is pizza. I like crisps, I like nuts. Hello guys. This is Kyle. I'm a systems primary protector, which means that I look out for the system both internally and externally. I make sure that everyone's safe. I've got all my little fans out there who I think I'm married to about 3 of them now. I don't know, I've had some proposals. I think that's quite sweet, I like that.
I don't know, just going back and watching old DissociaDID content, their communication is insanely good, even for like people who have been going to therapy for years. Which is valid. I mean, every person with DID is different, but part of me, at the very least here, it is not a healthy coping mechanism to do a video where all the boys come out in one sitting. Like you switch to this one boy and then you switch to another in one sitting. That and just little things like making a Spotify playlist for all of their alters, and it was all dating the same day. So it's like, oh, all your alters came out that day and made their own Spotify playlist. But at the end of the day, like if you have DID and you find DissociaDID's content to be helpful for you, by all means, like this video isn't meant to cancel anybody. Everything I've talked about today is just like, yeah, this is something we can note, this is something we can note, but nothing is like definitive proof. I think media literacy is important, but at the same time, I think straight out bullying, hate, and doxing is absolutely unacceptable. It's a tricky line, right? Because it's like, I want to say, you can say to yourself, like, I'm not going to use this as educational material. Yes, it is stigmatizing a disorder, but I'll just leave it alone. People are generally upset about it because DID is already a stigmatized disorder. So it's like, this is just the icing on the cake. There is a Reddit page where people can come together and say like, hey, you know, this ain't it. That is interesting. And I guess that can kind of make you feel better, especially if you had personal relations with DissociaDID. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on if you are feeling risky, and comment below. Thank you very much. It helps with the algorithm. And also thank you so much to each and every one of my members for supporting my efforts on this channel. It does mean the absolute world to me. But to everyone, I hope you have a good day, night, whatever the case may be, and peace out.